The Season 4 update changed a whole bunch of weapons, and in this video we're going to be going over what are the 10 best loadouts to use inside Warzone after the Season 4 update. So if you do enjoy this style of content, don't forget to subscribe as we try to reach our goal of 50k. Click that link and subscribe to our second channel. And this class setup video is going to cover both Resurgence on the Fortunes map as well as Caldera as well. So let's get into the first loadout, and we're going to fly through this really quickly. Starting off at number 10, we have the Whitley LMG along with the Mac 10. Now, the reason why the Mac 10 is on this list is because it actually got a bit of a buff with its overall damage profile. So the usual class setup that I use here and no stock, the reason I use no stock is to get rid of that kind of stock that covers the iron sights a little bit. So we use no stock here, plus it helps the sprint to fire. Then we use Task Force for the better strafing, Sound Suppressor for the better ADS time, Bruiser Grip for better movement speeds, and 53 round mags just because it's the largest available. But like I said, overall it did get a buff to its overall damage profile, which is very handy. Then we're pairing it with the Whitley, which once again is one of those guns that actually got a buff with this update, and this gun got huge buffs. Overall damage for long range, close range, everything. The only issue obviously with this weapon is going to be a bit slow because it's an LMG, but I do think this is going to be the new Bren for Warzone because it's got super low recoil and now it kills really quickly as well. So you want to use the MX silencer for the sound suppression as well as the recoil control. You want to use the Gracie Mark 9 barrel, which is going to give you the best possible recoil control. The G16 optic, the R4 stock is the best stock for this gun. The hard scope perk because it's going to help with recoil control. On hand for a better ADS time. Polymer grip, which is going to help with the flinch resistance as well as sustained fire accuracy. 45 round mags is kind of the way to go here because it's going to help with movement speed, making it feel more like an assault rifle. It's going to give you that faster fire rate and it's going to give you better recoil control. So just overall really good benefits here. I just wish it was like a 50 to 60 round mag. I think it'd be a bit more beneficial, but overall it's still going to be a solid option here. Then we're using Lengthen for the better bullet velocity and the hand stop underbarrel for the recoil control. At number 9, we have our all Modern Warfare class setup, which is the M4 with the MP5. The M4, in my opinion, is a very solid gun within Warzone at the moment, and I've tried this gun out with gameplays and stuff like that, so you can check that out because it hasn't actually changed with this new update. So it's still a solid gun to use, and the meta build stays exactly as it is usually. So mono suppressor, grenadier barrel, VLK optic, 60 round mags, commando foregrip, pretty much what we're used to. Then when it comes to the MP5, it's one of the fastest killing 5 attachment weapons when it comes to SMGs in this game. So obviously it's going to be a no-brainer when it comes to Modern Warfare guns. So you do want to use the monolithic integral for the sound suppression, 5mm laser for better hipfire accuracy, 45 round mags, stipple grip tape for better ADS, collapsible stock. We want to stay away from that Merc foregrip because it actually cons your movement speed and we don't really need too much of a con to that. At number 8, we have another class setup where a gun actually got a huge buff in terms of damage as well, and that is the MP40 paired with the OTS. So we'll quickly get into the OTS build right here. So this is the way I usually build the OTS. Again, I use the sound suppressor so we get that faster ADS time. We do kind of need it to compete with the Vanguard guns. The OTS already is kind of a solid weapon. A lot of people still use this. Task Force barrel for the better strafe speeds. Microflex LED to make sure your shots are landing because I do think this optic helps. 40 round fast mags as always, and then the bruiser grip. You could change the bruiser grip for like a Tiger Team Spotlight if you really want to. But overall, I do think this is the best OTS 9 build, and it's still been a popular SMG for a while. The only issue in my opinion is the mags kind of let it down a little bit. Then when it comes to the MP40, this gun actually got an overall damage buff as well, similar to the Whitley LMG. So this gun at long range now does a lot more damage than it did before. But for now, we're going to go over what the main build is for this gun. And the MX silencer you have to use for the sound suppression, the damage range, the recoil control. In terms of the barrel, the 700mm barrel actually got a huge buff in terms of damage range. So you could actually go for that one as well. There's kind of the only difference really is that the 720mm barrel is going to give you bullet velocity as well, which is definitely going to make this gun feel a lot better. So just keep that in mind. The 700mm barrel will move a little bit quicker and give you better damage range, but the bullet velocity bonuses are coming from the 720mm barrel, and that is the one I would actually recommend. Then we've got the G16 optic, we've got the padded stock, which is the best at controlling recoil for this weapon in particular. We've got acrobatic here because we don't really need to use tight grip anymore because they've actually made the recoil better on this weapon, so it's less reliant on tight grip. So we were using acrobatic instead for better movement speeds, which is obviously going to help the weapon a ton. Then we're using on hand for better ADS times, polymer grip for better accuracy with sustained fire. 60 round mags has always been the best, the closer ones when it comes to TTK, so obviously just go for those. Lengthened, and then the hand stop underbarrel to control the recoil. So I'm proud to say that snipers are coming back into the meta a bit now, which is really good, with some really good changes, and we'll quickly cover what those changes are as we go through these classes. But the next 3 classes are sniper builds, so you can mix and match the sniper support weapons as well, but I've tried to closely match them to a good sniper support that would reflect that class. So when it comes to the first one at number 7, we do have the ZRG, which is probably expected with the Cooper Carbine. Now, both of these weapons got a buff with this update. So first of all, when it comes to ZRG, what actually changed here is that they actually reduced the flinch on this weapon. So once you're getting shot at, you're actually still going to be able to hit your shots, and they reduced the flinch by about 20% overall, which is actually a huge buff to this weapon in particular, because this is one of the only sniper rifles that can one-shot headshot at any range, plus it's got the best bullet velocity out of any of the sniper rifles. So you want to use the wrap suppressor so you get that better bullet velocity, combat recon barrel once again for the better bullet velocity, 5mm laser, 5 round mags is going to allow you to just get more shots off, and then the airborne elastic to help with the flinch resistance a little bit more and give you a faster ADS time. So overall, this is going to be the best sniper rifle for long range. Then we're pairing it with the Cooper Carbine, and again, this gun got the same kind of treatment as the KG M40, whereas it's kind of got a bit of a recoil buff because it's less reliant on the tight grip perk. So we're building it the same as the way we did before. You could change the optic on this if you want, but we're using the MX silencer for the sound suppression, recoil control, Cooper custom barrel, which is the best for this gun, G16 optic, but you can choose whatever you like because it is a sniper support at the end of the day, so you can go for something lower zoom. Cooper 45 stock, which is going to be the best at controlling recoil. We don't really need tight grip anymore, and we don't really need vital on this gun either. So I usually go for fleet just so we get better movement speeds, and again, it's a sniper support, so boosting the movement is definitely going to be a bonus. On hand is going to give you a better ADS time, so I'd rather take that than take fully loaded in this case. Polymer grip for the recoil control, 60 round drums, lengthened, and then the hand stop underbarrel once again for the Cooper Carbine. Now here's a bit of a surprise. At number 6, we have the Kar 98K from Modern Warfare paired with the AS44. Now both of these guns got a buff, and I'll explain what the buffs are as we go through it. So let's start off with the AS44 here. Now I've always said this is a really good sniper support gun, but they buffed the recoil even more on this weapon, so it's going to be even easier to control than it was before. And already it was a pretty solid sniper support weapon because it has one of the fastest TTKs for close and long range. Still a little bit harder to use than something like maybe an M4, for example, but it's still a solid sniper support. So you want to use the recoil booster for the faster fire rate, Falchion barrel for the faster fire rate. Again, this is going to give you that insanely quick TTK, and obviously we get the recoil control anyway because they've buffed it on the base weapon. Slate reflector, ZAC 12A stock is going to help with that side-to-side recoil. Vertical recoil is easy to control. Steady perk, because we don't really have any recoil controlling perks here. You can go for gung ho if you like. On hand for a better ADS time. Polymer grip for the recoil control once again. 60 round mags is still the best mags for this gun to give you the best possible TTKs. Lengthened, and then the hand stop underbarrel to control the recoil on this gun. Now overall, like I said, very solid sniper support. Now, what has got buffed with the Kar 98K is the flinch on this weapon. So again, when you're getting shot at, you're not going to get nowhere near as much flinch as we did before. It's almost the same as the way it was originally before they switched over to Warzone Pacific. Actually on Verdansk, this gun had no flinch. So basically that's what they've reverted it back to, and it's still going to be a 2-shot kill to the head at those longer ranges. But what this means is at close range, if you're below that kind of 50-meter mark where the damage drops off, you're actually going to be able to kill people almost instantly with a fast ADS, no flinch, and you still get one hit headshot below 50 meters, which is solid. But at those longer ranges, obviously you'll still be able to land those 2 hits to the head and stuff like that. So overall, they've made it a very solid option now, again, in my opinion, and it's a very, very aggressive sniper now. So you want to use the mono suppressor for the sound suppression damage range, the vanguard custom barrel for the best possible bullet velocity, tac laser for the ADS bonuses, sniper scope, and you want to go for the sport comb. This is an aggressive sniper, so just make sure you go for the aggressive build on this gun. Now at number 5, we've got the Swiss and the Weld gun, and the Swiss got very similar treatment to the Kar 98K from Modern Warfare. So we'll go over the build on the Swiss here. So we want to use the GRU suppressor for the sound suppression and the bullet velocity, combat recon barrel for the best bullet velocity, 5mm laser, airborne elastic wrap to help with that flinch resistance even more. But you could actually go for the separate wrap because it's going to give you a faster ADS time. It's going to have pretty much no flinch anyways, so I mean overall definitely solid. And then the 7-round mags, because we don't really need any other attachment for this weapon, doesn't really help with like ADS or anything like that. So moving on to the Weld gun. The Weld gun is a very low recoil SMG, so you can use it in close and medium range. So overall, definitely a good choice if you're pairing it with a Swiss or even a Kar 98K. You can mix and match like I said. So you do want to use the recoil booster for the faster fire rate, the shrouded barrel to get the recoil control back in this weapon. This is the main way most people build this gun. The hand stop underbarrel for the recoil control as well. The 40-round mags is the mags you should be going for. Again, it's going to help control the recoil, make sure you're landing all your shots. Lengthened, the polymer grip for better recoil control. Fleet for better movement speeds and weapon swap speeds. Quick, the remove stock for better movement speed once again, and the slate reflector. At number 4, we have both of the new weapons, and obviously we're going to go over the best builds for these guns. If you do want to check out what the other kind of single fire build is for the macro, then you could check out our previous video. But what we have here is the UGM, and the UGM build is what you see on screen just now. So MX silencer for the sound suppression, recoil control, and the damage range. You need to use the Bernard barrel for the best possible recoil control on this weapon as well. G16 optic. The Mercier stock is the only one that helps with recoil pretty much, so you definitely want to go for that one. Tight grip to help with the recoil control once again. You can also go for brace if you really wanted to, or extra bullet velocity, but I do think tight grip is going to help the most. On hand for a better ADS because it is an LMG at the end of the day. Polymer grip for better recoil control. 75-round mags, but you can also go for the 50-round British mags as well. This is going to give you a faster fire rate, which is more forgiving. It's also going to help with recoil, and it's going to give you better movement speed. So just overall, a better option than base mags. Lengthened, and then the hand stop underbarrel for recoil control. So we're pairing this with the Macro 5 SMG, and we're mainly going to cover the Akimbo build in this video, as you can see, but there is a more practical single fire build which we've covered in a previous video. I'll leave that linked at the end of this one if you want to check it out. So for the Akimbo build, you want to use the recoil booster for the faster fire rate, which means a faster TTK. Body barrel, which gives you a faster fire rate, which means a faster TTK. We're using the G16 optic just because it helps with accuracy and stuff like that. Body stock, which is going to help with the hip fire accuracy. Now it does con your accuracy with sustained fire, which is kind of important, but we do need that hip fire accuracy and sprint to fire speeds anyway, so we kind of have to choose this one regardless. Akimbo perk, obviously this is going to allow you to fire both weapons. Quick is going to give you better movement speed. Pine tar grip is going to help with the recoil, which helps with hip fire accuracy and hip fire accuracy, so both bonuses there to the weapon, especially since we're conning it with that stock. And then we are using the 48-round drums because the Nambu 64-round drums actually slow you down in terms of movement speed. So even though it gives you better hip fire accuracy and better recoil control, you're probably better off with just the 48 standard drum mags. And then hollow point to make sure the TTKs are consistent. Classes 3, 2, and 1 are all AR SMG combos, so you can mix and match those again as well. Starting off at number 3, we've got a couple of guns here. One actually got a buff, which is the Vargo 52. Quite surprising because they don't usually buff Cold War guns, which is a bit weird to be honest. But we'll quickly go over the build for this gun because it actually got a damage buff, and then the recoil on this gun is obviously easy to control, as we all know anyway. So it's going to be a solid option in my opinion. So GRU suppressor, task force barrel, axial 3x optic, 60 round mags, and Spetsnaz grip. Then we are pairing this with the Blixen, which has been a very popular SMG since it's been added in. Very easy to use, super fast TTKs as well across the board. And this is the best build, even though it did get a slight change to that Grenko mag. I still think is going to be the best SMG in the game. So we're using the recoil booster for the faster fire rate, the RMK barrel, which is going to help with the damage, hand stop underbarrel for recoil control, 54 round mags, which is still the best at giving you that headshot damage, aimed down sights. Now we are using lengthen for the better bullet velocity, polymer grip for the recoil control, fleet so we get better movement speeds, but you can also go for perfectionist as well if you need that extra control on the weapon. Quick, we're using the MB stock, but some people like to use the remove stock. Both are solid options. And then we're using the slate reflector as the optic. At number 2, we have the STG and the MP40. Now, the STG did get a bit of a nerf to recoil as well as damage, but both of those nerfs weren't really that significant, and I still think this gun is going to be one of the main weapons to use regardless, because prior to this nerf, it was pretty much completely broken. It's like a laser beam, and it had a super fast TTK. Now it will be kind of more in line with the rest of the guns, but still one of the main weapons to use. So I do still think the STG is solid, and the MP40 never really got touched by any of the updates, so it's still going to be a solid SMG regardless. So when it comes to the STG build, it's what we're pretty much used to. Nothing has really changed here. So MX silencer for the recoil control, damage range, 760mm barrel. We're using the G16. We're using the weighted stock for the best possible recoil control, acrobatic for better movement speeds, on hand for better ADS time, polymer grip for the recoil control, 50 round mags is the best mags, lengthened and hand stop under barrel. When it comes to the MP40, again, not really much has changed here. You can build this gun in a couple of different ways. So first of all, you want to use the recoil booster. You definitely want to use the hand stop under barrel for the recoil control. 45 round mags is a must on the MP40. Lengthened, the fabric grip, or you can go for polymer if you need the extra recoil control. Steady for the better movement speeds whilst firing, so basically your strafe speed. Quick for better movement speeds overall. We could use the remove stock here, or you could choose the folding stock. Both are solid options. And then the slate reflector, so you could choose the remove stock or the folding stock, and you could also switch between the short barrel and the crossneck barrel as well. Both are also solid options with the MP40. This is also a really good sniper support weapon as well, by the way, so if you do want to swap out one of the other sniper support guns, you can use the MP40 instead. Last but not least, at number 1, this is the best class setup in my opinion at the moment. So we've got the Automaton with the Armaguerra SMG. Now the Armaguerra just got some huge buffs with this update. I don't know why, because it was already very popular, but now it's just going to be like insanely good. So for the Armaguerra build, nothing has really changed with the build because it kind of just got a buff anyway. So you don't really need to change too much. So recoil booster for the faster fire rate, body barrel for the extra damage, slate reflector, folding stock for the better movement speeds, steady for the better strafe speeds, then quick for the better movement speed once again, fabric grip, but you can go for polymer if you need the extra recoil control. I don't really think you need it though. 60 round mags, then lengthened, and the hand stop under barrel for the recoil control as well. Then pairing it with the Automaton, we've got the MX silencer for the recoil control, sound suppression. 600mm barrel is the best for this gun regardless. G16 optic, you can choose whatever one you want. Padded stock is definitely the best for the Automaton. Tight grip, which is definitely going to help this weapon in particular. Then on hand for a better ADS time. Polymer grip for better recoil control. 75 round mags, which is the best for TTK on the Automaton. Lengthened, hand stop under barrel. And overall, like I said, I think this is the #1 best class setup to use inside this game right now, especially since the STG was the main kind of weapon and it got nerfed. This is probably going to be the best low recoil gun in the game. If you did enjoy this video and learn something new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 50k. We're also going to be covering all the TTK's changes with the rifles as well as the SMGs in tomorrow's videos, so please subscribe for that as well, and thank you very much for watching.